Right, okay, I've been told we're not allowed to ramble, so let's make this a super fast one.
Oh, right.
But it wasn't that great, was it? Come on. I had to. I forgot to say to you earlier. I had to cut out a little bit of tonight's Street Talk Shorts on YouTube because I thought I'd given it 3 bobbins in a row, but actually somehow Wednesday's managed to scrape a bog standard. So I edited that out, a little background behind the scenes information for everyone here. But no, there was very, very little here that caught my interest at all. It was not the selection of stories that I wanted to listen to, and I'm not saying it was completely awful because I'm sure that I know that there were some people there that really liked it. I've seen people saying, "Oh, I feel so sorry for Gemma. Gemma's vindicated. Oh, Liam, I feel bad for him. Oh, Laura." But no, it just didn't work for me in the slightest this week. I hope we're going to have a bit of a turnaround. Wow, I'll tell you, we had 6 stories, and I got some very boring storyline titles for them as well. The Joseph storyline, I was kind of torn. I've got brown ale, it's called at the moment, because he's ailing. But, yeah.
And it's a drink.
Yeah, but I could have called it brown limes as well, because that's what happens to your limes when you don't squeeze them. They go brown. But I'll go for brown ales. Hey, keep away from my son. This story's got, every week we can get a different one. And Adam, he's not too happy with Damon, is he? He's going to see him getting flattened. Lauren relations. Sounds like foreign relations. Splat the rat. Is I'm fully in storyline. I'm not saying, it's not supporting Mason in any way, but I'm also not feeling that bad for Liam because I'm heartless. Cass and the lass. Oh my gosh, Twinina. Sorry, Gemma, can you just take over because it feels like I'm doing all the talking today, and I'm sure that you will be excellent at hurrying this all along. So, would you like to do the brown ale story where we get taught lessons about more medical conditions?
It was a bit, wasn't it? Can I say double vindication here because I also said that there was definitely something wrong.
You did. I think you might have been the first one out of the two of us to notice. Hang on a minute, there was more than that lavender drink.
Yeah, I've been saying it for ages because I thought ages ago, they're doing some kind of factitious disorder, Munchausen's by proxy, and I thought they're not doing that again because they only just did it with Emma and her boyfriend.
I wondered whether...
So it's got to be of something real.
Yeah.
That's really wrong with him. What could it be? I didn't guess Lyme disease.
Why not? So many Lyme disease. That really did feel a little bit like they, got the medical encyclopedia and said, right, we're going to open it up at a random page, and it's no cancer. We've done that before. Okay, close it up. Open it up at a random page.
Why is this a cancer
MND.
again?
No, we've got somebody there. Close it up. Open it up at a random page.
He's got a cold.
Oh, it's cancer again. Cold. That's not Lyme disease. Yeah.
Well, at least we don't live in America where you can get disease from the Lone Star tick, where you become allergic to red meat and all kind of animal products.
Oh yeah, just imagine that. I mean,
you should be grateful.
He'd never be able to eat one of his father's delicious cheeseburgers. Or kebabs.
Kebab.
Yeah.
Lyme disease.
Lyme. Oh
but
gosh.
The thing is, did we learn? I don't know. Did I learn anything about Lyme disease? I already knew all this. It's terrifying to think about.
I didn't. I was confusing it with Weil's disease, which is the one that you get if you fall into ponds with dirty water in.
Oh, I've never heard of that one.
Lyme disease is the one that if you get a tick attached to you.
This is why This is why I freaked out when I had a tick on me. Do you remember?
Yeah.
There's a doe that lives up at the allotments, and I think she's got fleas because every so often somebody will say, "Oh, I found a flea on if you go in the long grass in your allotment." I had a shower a couple of years ago, and I was rubbing, and then suddenly I realised that I thought it was a bit of towel.
Oh yes, you said,
and I was like,
you?
"Oh, what's that?" And I brushed it, and it was a bloody tick attached to me, and I had to get the tweezers and pinch it off myself.
I wish I'd
And then I thought, "Oh God, I've got Lyme disease."
But you didn't, as far as you
Maybe I do. Maybe that's what's wrong with me.
I would say I didn't know much about Lyme disease, and
it makes you faint like a Jane Austen heroine onto a sofa every now and then.
Yeah, they thought, oh, we did such a good job that last time
disease.
he fainted. It was more of a swoon, wasn't it, than just when I'm fully collapsed. But no, I didn't know much about Lyme disease before, and I'm gonna say I don't know much about it now because I did kind of zone out when we were being taught about it. That was a really long bit of a PSA. If it wasn't Dr. Gaddas, honestly, I'd have been unconscious.
I wonder whether they're doing like moonlighting here with the Coronation Street characters, getting them to do PSAs, and then they're like selling them to foreign countries that don't have Coronation Street, and like maybe maybe they sell them to China with subtitles on, and then all the Chinese people are like, yes, Lyme disease, I didn't know.
And how do we watch this amazing programme?
No, just as medical advice.
It really did come too soon.
It's like a safety at work video.
It was, and what, 2 episodes after the carbon monoxide, which was
really
the same thing of a doctor.
It's the silent killer. Lyme disease. What? That's the silent killer. No, doctor. Lyme disease is the invisible killer.
It was the same thing. It was a doctor in a corridor telling you pay, except this one just went on and on and on, and it felt like a joke to me.
Okay.
The more that speech went on, the more I felt like I've never felt more preached to than I did in this Lyme disease, and yet I've internalised none of it. What does it do? Make your head drop off or something? I don't know. What do you get?
I don't know, but I was
school?
watching it going, yeah, that's right, yeah, you tell them, that's right, yeah.
I have done a little bit of Dr. Googling myself about it.
Dr. Googling?
Okay, Dr. Fogling. No, what do you mean? No,
doctor?
I've been Googling. Well, that's what you're doing. I don't think I've got it. I've just been Googling.
You think you've got Lyme disease?
No, I don't. I just want. Sorry,
Why?
I thought if you Google any medical thing as a Dr. Google, maybe I'm.
What? I've
maybe
never
I'm
heard
just
that
going
term
nuts.
before.
No, you trust Dr. Google, don't you? It's like rather than going to your GP.
If you don't say I'm Dr. Googling it.
Well, I do. Anyway,
so
I saw that it gives you a massive rash, which is really
that's what they
surprising.
said on his,
yeah,
he's
surprising
got a
that he didn't
circular rash.
notice that.
A bullseye rash.
Yeah, that's it, exactly.
On his head, though.
Hmm?
It was on his head, so they didn't see it.
Oh, okay. And yeah, so it just gets you a bit weary and tired. But I did also read, and I hope that the script writers didn't read this bit as well on the Wikipedia page, that it can lead to long-term, chronic weariness and wooziness and tiredness. It's like, I can't be doing with Joseph swooning. Like, when's he going to swoon next? He's been... Do you think that Summer had Lyme disease?
They've all got it. There's an infestation.
I think I've got onto something now.
I think that the upholstery at the Rovers is full of ticks.
Is that why they had to change it recently?
I think that Lyme disease was a bit of in vogue in Hollywood about 5 years ago, because I remember reading so and so celebrity has got Lyme disease, so and so celebrity's got Lyme disease, and so I think that that's why I knew about it.
It's just I don't. It's obvious. Who wants another story about a character contracting some kind of disease? Is anyone really asking for that?
I enjoyed the story though, because I like, it wasn't just about him having Lyme disease. It was just an explanation as to why he was ill, and the real thing was Gemma and Chesney, the tension between those two.
It was. I know. I get that it was. But that also didn't interest me. Although it did make me giggle that Joseph is like, I don't want to live with my dad anymore. I wonder whether this is the long... Who would want to live with Chesney? Did he get Lyme disease on purpose, just so that he didn't have to live with his bore of a father?
Or, hear me out, is Chesney the tick? Is he leeching the life out of all of his relatives one by one?
Is the tick that old cartoon? I'm sure there was an old cartoon called The Tick, this big desperate danker kind of man.
There's a new Amazon show called The Tick, isn't there? Or there's...
I don't know. That's what I'm going to call my life story when it's just me marking, sitting at desks, The Tick. Okay, so that's what I thought about
makes
that.
me tired.
Do you want to
actually hear what happened?
Actually hear what happened in painstaking detail, because we're about to tell you.
So Linda's arrived, didn't she, from Portugal?
Yes.
To look after the family. And
do you know what she said when she got here? Bloody cold. Why did I come here in January? It was when she came here 2 years ago. It was January as well. What's up?
There's nothing to do in Portugal in January, obviously.
Clearly not.
Gemma's worried that Joseph's going to tell Linda about the social services and the fact that she can't live there. And Chesney says, look, I've told him not to say anything. And then Joseph's like, oh, I'm really hot.
And then, like, hang on a minute, everyone else is cold.
Chesney says to Gemma tells Chesney that Joseph's got a temperature, and Chesney doesn't believe them. Gemma goes to see Paul and tells him about Joseph and the fact that Chesney thinks he's faking it. And Paul says don't risk messing everything up because social services can get involved again.
It has turned into a boy who cried wolf situation, hasn't it?
Yeah. Gaddas goes to see Gemma and Paul in the cafe, and she's asking him about his pain because remember he went to ask her for morphine because he wanted to off himself, and he says, "No, I'm fine now."
Yeah, Gaddas is really out and about this week, isn't she? She's proper in the wild.
Watch out, Gaddas about.
She goes to the cafe, she goes to Rovers, she goes to the hospital.
Gadding about.
Gadding about, yeah, that's what this was. I tell you what, and I know you listen to this, we had sacrilege on our YouTube comments this week. Somebody saying that Dr. Gaddas's hair isn't all out.
Isn't all out?
Isn't all that, sorry.
Isn't all cute. Isn't all that cute.
Is that what she said?
How dare you?
I don't know. Dr. Gaddas's hair
Dr. Gaddas has the cutest hair. I don't think we use that phrase the same way in England.
It's
we
amazing.
Don't say cute. I remember when I went to Paris once, my two Americans told my nan she was cute and she thought it was the best thing she'd ever heard of in her life. Okay, so Gaddas is asking about Joseph and how's he doing, and he's like, "I don't feel very well." Left alone in the cafe, Gemma goes to talk to Dr. Gaddas about Joseph, and she doesn't really believe there's anything wrong with him, and tells Gemma that Chesney is going to call the surgery if he thinks Joseph's unwell, and don't worry about it.
Yeah, she's basically
But
saying trust Chesney to know what's right with Joseph.
All dads are very, very up on their children's health and would be the first ones to know if something was wrong. And Chesney comes here to hear the end of this, and so when they're back at home, he has to go at Gemma for putting Dr. Gaddas in a difficult situation, and he also says you can't say anything because if the social services hear you're harping on about this again, they're going to get really mad about it, and it could affect the case. Later on, Linda turns up, hooray! I don't know why everyone hates Linda. I really quite like her. I think she's great. I wish I was rich. Gemma's not impressed.
She's who you want to be, doesn't she? You want to be the sort of person that buys oversized fridges.
I want Linda to come here and she can wave her magic fairy wand on several things that need sorting out.
I don't mind Linda. I go back and forth every appearance. I wasn't keen on her at all in her first appearance, whenever that was, 7-8 years ago or whatever. When she was in it a couple of years ago, I kind of liked the dynamic there, like the rich grandma swooping in to save the day. I don't love her.
Yeah.
And I don't think the show would be any worse were she not in it.
Right.
I don't go, hooray, I've just been wanting to see her again, but equally, there are characters I'd like to see back less than her. That's the height of compliment you're going to get.
I think that Linda gave Chesney a little bit of credibility here because I don't listen to a word Chesney says. So he needed somebody in his corner.
I just thought that she was, I don't know, I would hope that she would be a little bit more believe it. She just automatically takes against Gemma, doesn't she? And it felt like she wasn't doing it for character reasons. It felt it was a...
No, because she's like the mother-in-law, isn't she, on Chesney's side? Mm. So she doesn't like Gemma because she's a bit of rough and putting the kids in danger and all that kind of thing.
But I would have thought that she would have cared for Joseph enough to give him, his ailments some credence.
No, because she thought that Gemma was involved. Look, we'll get to it, shall we?
Okay.
I also thought it's quite funny that Linda kept accidentally almost going Scottish when I don't think she meant to. So Paul nearly drops Gemma in it because they're not telling Linda that Gemma's not allowed to live there. But he mentions that she's staying with them, and Linda's like, "Why is that?" And he says, "Oh, it's to look after me because I'm dying and stuff." Linda doesn't believe him, so she confronts Chesney, and then Chesney spills everything, including the fact that Gemma has poisoned Joseph with this lavender oil. Now, it makes perfect sense that she thinks that Gemma has given her this lavender oil, given Joseph this lavender oil, and then is trying to backtrack on making a stupid mistake by saying, "Oh no, he's ill for ages." She's only hearing what Chesney said. Chesney doesn't believe Gemma, so of course he's not going to give a very unbiased opinion about what's happened. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
She's getting this second hand of Chesney. He's an unreliable narrator who doesn't think there's anything wrong with Joseph. So of course she's going to be suspicious of Gemma.
I think that Chesney's getting a bit too much flack, and I know that's very out of character for me to say it, but I think it's understandable. to say, oh, come on, there's nothing wrong with you, it's fine, the hospital have said, I almost kind of think that if I'd been in that situation and medical professionals had told me that there was nothing wrong, I'd almost be inclined to agree as well.
If my kid's been saying, I'm sick, I'm ill, and then gone to hospital and they went, oh, we've sorted it out, it's to do with something that happened yesterday, I'd say, no, it isn't. It can't be anything to do with yesterday.
No, I know, but I think Chesney's just thinking that he's exaggerating or just...
Well, that's because he's a dickhead. I think Chesney is one of the worst male characters as far as being a dad and a partner on Coronation Street, and that's saying a lot because they're almost universally terrible.
I wonder whether it's also a case of maybe he's got the blinkers on and he just doesn't want to hear it because life in the Winter Brown household is just so hectic and draining and tiring. He's thinking, this can't be anything. I haven't got the mental capacity for this to be anything. So he might just be
putting his head in the sand.
Yeah,
what a great attitude.
I know you shouldn't really do that if you've got a kid, but I do have the slightest bit of sympathy for him, which is weird coming from me talking about Chesney.
I think it's probably because I'm being so horrible to him, but I think he's one of the worst people in the world. And, Hitler's dead now, so it can't be him. No, it's Chesney. Linda can't believe about all this stuff to do with the lavender stuff, and so she says she's like, look, you should split up with him. If you ever want sole custody, let me know. I will support you. And he's like, no, I don't want to break up with her. I just want to make her life miserable by forcing her to be my wife and raise my children. Gemma's my wife. She has to wash my pants.
What did you think about Linda doing this? That she was like well out of order. Because imagine the mum coming in and said, here, why don't you split up with you? She doesn't even know her.
She's like,
She spent less than a month in the country in the past 5 years.
Linda's like, look, I don't know how long I've got in this show, so I need to accelerate this plot really quickly. Do you want a divorce? To divorce her.
That was bang out of order. You do not do that.
No, I know it does. No, you don't. But this is set up for what happens on Friday, isn't it?
Yeah.
On Wednesday, Linda's like, you know what we said the other day? Here's the solicitor's card, just in case you change your mind about us sticking with her. And Chesney's like, no, and he rips it all up. Meanwhile, Joseph says he's sick again, and Chesney can't make tea because the milk's gone off, because the fridge is on the blink, and the freezer's defrosted, and it's all just gone wrong at once. They're ready to go out later, and Gemma's there, and she hears that Joseph is still sick, so she says, I'll take you to the chemist on the way. And Linda looks worried because she suspects that she's going to do something again.
Yeah, well, does she think that Gemma's just going to over-exaggerate his symptoms, maybe try and get something a bit...
Maybe give him something that he shouldn't take.
Yeah.
She doesn't know what's going on. She only knows what Chesney's told her.
Mm. Does Linda, does she want the family to split up? Has she thought about the fact that if Chesney and Gemma split up, then there's... there's a fairly high chance that Chesney's not going to be able to have the quads anymore. She's just a wrecking ball to that family.
Yeah, well, at the same time, if you're worried about somebody, it is better to be apart from them than it is to have them in your life causing chaos.
But it's also, again, if Gemma, the very likely scenario that if they were to split up, Gemma would get the quads, that means that Linda is inflicting Gemma's hypersensitivity to all things medical to the quads.
She only cares about Joseph.
She does care about the quads. Yeah, they're her grandchildren, aren't they?
No.
Oh no, they're not, are they? Almost.
Just to remind everybody.
Just to
remind everybody.
I'm going to backtrack on that one. Maybe I'll edit that out later.
Is not Linda's son.
Gosh.
Linda is the mother of Katie, who is Joseph's mum, who died in a car crash.
And Izzy, apparently.
And Izzy, who makes a great
Izzy, it's understandable that I don't remember that. Yeah, Scylla is Chesney's mum.
Izzy was so funny because she kept saying... Oh, how come Linda's never talks to me? Which I don't know whether that was written in after somebody'd read the script for Monday and went, hang on, why is Izzy's...
It feels like the only reason that Izzy appeared in Wednesday's episode is just so that she...
To placate people that were going, why isn't
she... But it doesn't do the job. What a snub, honestly.
I know.
And even after today, when Linda's like, well, if you're going to kick me out of number 5, I guess I'll go and stay at a hotel. Your daughter lives just across town.
Well, it's not just that. That's also her other grandchild, because Izzy has a son.
Yeah, Jake. Although I can't remember whether he does live with her and not Gary, doesn't he?
Well, I don't know, but he's still just as much Linda's grandson as it is as Joseph is. So why does she not care about him? It's quite funny.
It was... And the fact that they had, 2-3 scenes on Wednesday, Gemma talking about her mum, but they still didn't get a scene together.
Who? What is he talking about?
Is he and her mum?
Yeah, maybe.
Why couldn't they have made that work?
Maybe the actresses have beef.
Maybe
No, I
they
don't
do.
think they do. That's a joke.
I saw somebody online saying, maybe Izzy doesn't come round number 5 because of the not wheelchair accessible for all the toys around the... Paul was there on Wednesday, wasn't
Paul
he?
doesn't seem to mind.
It's really kind of a bit of a snub
funny,
to Izzy.
But it doesn't matter. Chesney comes home and finds Linda has bought the family a giant fridge freezer. And this is an American style fridge freezer. I don't know what you call it in America.
Well, I was wondering that the other day. Normal fridge freezers, do they call British freezers?
Because in this country...
Where we get... What?
We don't... I mean, it's quite normal to have one of these slimline ones, which is... I don't know, how wide would you say it was?
What,
it's
there's
like,
a normal fridge,
like
a normal
size,
freezer?
like the width of like a laptop and a half, maybe.
Yeah, like 3 foot.
And it's
4
got,
foot.
it goes up to about the height of a person, and it's got a fridge and a freezer section. But these American fridge freezers, like the one that Linda's bought, they've got double the width, don't they? And they've got a fridge freezer.
They are quite good. When we moved into our house 2 years ago, the old family left us their American style fridge freezer. I don't think we could go back. Although we haven't figured out how to change the filter on the ice machine. It says how often you're supposed to change it.
We won't talk about it.
We just have dirty ice cubes.
Michael, for God's sake.
Sorry.
You sort it out then.
No.
Everything's my fault.
No, it's not your fault. We've both tried. I thought it was ridiculous of Linda that she bought this fridge freezer. Say, oh, sorry, I didn't measure up.
Yeah, hang on. Before we even say that, so I just described what sort of an average family fridge freezer is. But they don't even have that. They've got an under-the-counter one, which is about a quarter of the size of the one that she's replaced it with a freezer compartment in the top, which is the sort of thing you can only put ice cubes and fish fingers in. And so she's just gone, I don't know whether you had enough space. Like, are you joking me? That thing is about the size of a quarter of their entire kitchen.
I know. Did they put it... They ended up just shoving it into the corner of the lounge, didn't they?
Well, I've seen quite a few houses that are just, the fridge freezer won't even fit in. Because
it kind of fits the higgledy-piggledy nature of number 5, doesn't it? Yeah, of course we have our fridge in the lounge.
Houses in this country are not made for American-style fridge freezers.
No. Although I suppose also in the Dobbs house, they've got their fridge right next to Evelyn's chair,
but
haven't they?
Still in the
kitchen. That's part of the kitchen.
So that is a normal-sized fridge freezer, isn't it? The one in the Hope State.
Yeah.
That's the sort of one my mum and dad... That's the
British
one we
freezer,
had. Yeah, just like a normal...
Yeah.
A normal size.
But I would also say, how on earth is that family with 5 kids, 2 grown-ups, 3, Bernie, how do they live with just that tiny fridge freezer? So
this is the trouble.
A blessing, really, I suppose.
When people talk about bulk buying and stuff, and they trying to say how to save money, they don't think about families like theirs, where they literally have nowhere to store. Yeah, okay, it would be handy to bulk buy a year's worth of lentils and rice and chickpeas and buy meat and do batch cooking and put it in the freezer, but they literally didn't have any of that stuff.
You know that the Winter Browns they survive on fish fingers, Findus crispy pancakes, Bernard Matthews golden drummers, don't they? Where do they store them?
Yeah, but don't be snobby about it.
No, I'm not. They're great. I love them
because they don't have the time or the skills or the space to store anything else.
I'm not poo-pooing golden drummers.
That.
They're bloody brilliant.
That'd be what you prefer.
But all I'm saying is, it didn't make sense, I suppose, that they had a tiny freezer unless they don't have
the money to buy anything else.
Yeah, that of course that bit makes sense. They wouldn't be able to afford a massive. This is the most animated discussion we're going to get throughout this whole episode.
The socio-economics situation of the Dobbs Brown house.
Dobbs Brown, I don't know.
Oh,
Winter Brown.
No, Winter Brown.
Yeah. So anyway, I get they're keeping it, and that's all I.
Well, she gets. Chesney's not impressed about this because there's nowhere to put it, and so Linda goes off on one because he's been ungrateful. So. She packs her bags and she says, I'm clearly not wanted here, but Chesney stops her.
I've just thought of something. What do you... I'm going to say, what was the bad joke I made last week? It was about the Rex thing, wasn't it?
Oh, God.
Here's my bad joke of the week. we've just been ragging on Gemma and Chesney's old freezer, right? Because it's a bit tiddly and rubbish. What do you call it when you insult somebody's freezer? Freezer burn. Hey, there we go. That got a giggle. That's me done for the night. I'll just sit back.
How many cracker jokes do you write a year? Is it one a month? For 12 in a pack?
That could be a cracker joke, isn't it? Because it's kind of wintry.
Right in.
Anyway,
Okay, you done?
Yes, I'm done.
So she's packed her bag. She's cleaned up wanted her, but Chesney stops her and says, I know you just want what's best for the children. And then Linda starts saying, are you sure you should be with Gemma because she's awful? And speak of the devil, Gemma arrives. She finds this torn up solicitor card on the table.
Torn up solicitor. It's Adam. He's just ripped in half. Harvey's got
He's just upset. One who specialises in custody cases. And Chesney tries to explain, but Gemma's not very happy about this. All with Chesney about telling Linda about this lavender incident.
I was semi-defending Chesney earlier, but honestly, he had it coming, leaving that card on the table. As soon as he ripped it up and tore it there at the beginning of the episode, I thought, Gemma's going to find that. Chesney, you should know better, lad.
Well, Chesney gets a phone call from the school to say that Joseph's not very well. And in case you wondered what happens, don't worry, Kirk helps move the fridge somewhere.
Oh yeah, Kirk, Andy Wyman gets his episode count increased by one this week.
There've been quite a few scenes over the past few weeks which really felt like they were inserted to shut people up from being annoying about like nitty gritty stupid bitty bits, like why doesn't Izzy and Linda have a scene together? Don't worry, we're going to have Izzy explain why. How did Chesney move the fridge? Don't worry, Kirk came and helped him.
I found that there was far too many scenes this week, and there might have only been 2 or 3 to be fair, but they weren't needed, of people saying, no, don't worry. Billy and Paul are looking after the quads.
Yeah, exactly.
Billy and Paul will look after the quads
quads
longer. Well, because you do get people, and I don't think that we've ever been one of them.
No, because we don't think about
who's looking after the kids.
No.
Free range. People will always say, who's babysitting so-and-so? Now we haven't got Auntie Emily on the street anymore. There's no go-to de facto babysitter, is there?
But just, like I said this before many times about Coronation Street, it just proves they cannot win, because when they tell us, we're like, oh, no one cares, it's boring, taking up time, it's being silly. And when they don't tell us, we're like, wow, why can't they just written in a line to explain?
We're just never happy, are we?
You can't win. You just got to accept it. Later on, Joseph does a swoon on the sofa, but when he regains consciousness, he can't sit up again. And he's saying, oh, what's happening to me? So they take him into A&E. Chesney and Linda are in the waiting room. He's very worried. Linda still suspects that Gemma's done something to him. And Dr. Gaddas comes in.
Oh no. Was it this?
Yes,
was it the other one? This, yes. Moment of the week. Dr. Gaddas coming into the Rovers and Shona going, badass. And Dr. Gaddas going, Shona, that...
I didn't like that.
Didn't you?
I thought it was too meta.
It was quite meta, wasn't it? Shona's doing all the meta stuff recently.
Shona's got a new fringe.
Oh yeah, she has, hasn't she? Lovely fringe. Very, obviously in tribute to Claudia. Now that the Traitors is back on.
Yes, maybe Shona's been watching the Traitors. Right. Okay. So
I thought that was brilliant.
Dr. Gaddas comes into the pub to ask Gemma how Joseph is because he's in A&E. And
no, Gemma doesn't know that he's in A&E.
And then she's like, "Oh my gosh, what happened?"
No, this still wasn't.
Right.
This was after Gaddas spoke to Joseph in the cafe the other day.
She says, by the way, has he been to the countryside recently?
She is like super doc, isn't she? She just like, she can tell. Has he like breathed fresh air recently?
Has he been outside of the confines of Coronation?
Has he seen a blade of grass in the past 6 months?
Has he been away from the cobbles?
I'll tell you what, I think that Tim and Steve need to get themselves checked out after the fishing trip, don't they?
Yeah,
they're probably riddled with
kinds
ticks.
Of stuff. Well, she's definitely no physician's assistant.
But she is not, no.
That's the latest scandal that we're all going to have to look out for. You know that, right?
No, I was just agreeing with you to make myself sound clever. What's going on?
Replacing doctors with physician's assistants who get paid more than doctors but aren't as qualified.
Oh, no.
And they're not really doctors, and I'll never tell you that. I told you, somebody phoned me up the other day and they were talking to me like they were a doctor, and then I looked them up and they weren't. They're just some kind of administrative assistant. Look, I'm not being snobby or anything, but doctors are doctors for a reason. They've gone to medical school for a long time. You cannot replace them with somebody who is not actually a doctor.
Yes, exactly.
This is the latest scandal. I remember I was...
Post office scandal's over. We sorted that.
No, don't worry about that. Julie Hedgeman-House, get yourself on the physician's assistant scandal. Sort that out. Anyway, Gemma's like, yeah, he went camping. Well, that's your first mistake. Don't try to ever save money on a holiday.
That's what we did last time we went to Manchester, didn't we? We camped in a bug-ridden field. We're lucky we came out alive.
Near a ghostly haunted house. Right, so Gemma gets a call from Chesney, hurries to the hospital, Dr. Gaddas is in tow, and Linda...
She hasn't got anything better to do.
She's like, I've been fired because I'm too expensive.
She's clearly clocked off for the day, but she's like, I've got no plans for the evening. I'll come along to the hospital with you. I'll tell them. Right,
so Linda's there as well, and she accuses Gemma of giving Joseph something that's made him sick. And then she says, oh, yeah, here we go. Dr. Gaddas is here too. She agrees with me, surely. She must be, that's why she's here. And Dr. Gaddas says, anyway, I've got to go and Wikipedia Lyme disease. They both come out, don't they? And they're like, Lyme disease, according to the NHS website, is a terrible disease that is given to you by ticks.
Yeah,
and they can cause all the symptoms.
Symptoms include wooziness, swooning, a red circular bullseye rash. Everything Joseph's got.
We looked on his head.
You can get it from ticks.
You wouldn't have seen it.
In order to remove ticks,
go to your local vet.
I don't know how else they could have told it, but
I don't know how else you can do this, because I mean the only other alternative is I can think of how I breathlessly ramble to you about something exciting that I've seen on Netflix or Reddit and bumble my way through explaining it half-assedly, and you don't know what I'm saying at the end of the day, and then I have to look it up and then tell you.
It felt very, very much like, too much like a lesson.
A lot of people said the same thing. It didn't bother me as much, but yeah.
It was worse because it came too soon after RD's. He's fine now, by the way.
Wasn't that last week?
That was Friday.
What's next week then? What's going to happen next week? That wasn't even a whole week. It was Friday to Wednesday. And then we're getting a new... What's going to be next? It's going to be like, oh, you didn't fill out your benefits form appropriately. Did you know if you can just go to amientitled.com to find out what benefits you're entitled to? But remember, if you falsely claim benefits, you might end up having to pay them back or go to court. Maybe having a custodial sentence, which could be up to 6 months.
With all this extra experimental editing they're doing at the moment, which was here again today, it doesn't surprise me next time that they do one of these. They just have a little ticker going across the screen saying for more advised contact. And as she's saying it, little pictures of the rash appear.
I want them to do a 90s style hacker montage of Dr. Gaddas going on Google and looking it up, like with the funky music, like, would you download Lyme disease? Yeah. No, you wouldn't.
And she go, of course, it's obvious
Lyme disease.
Nobody's had that on this programme before.
Let me just look on Corriepedia. No, we're free, home and clear.
Stop getting sick, Corrie people. Take your vitamins. Does that prevent you getting Lyme disease? I don't think it's
got anything to do with it. Right, so I think normally, people wouldn't get Lyme disease on Coronation Street because they don't go anywhere.
No.
Off the screen, but as soon as you go camping, you could get all kinds of horrible things.
Did they talk about him going camping? They probably did.
What can you get out of a cow pat? You can probably get horrible things off of cow pats and licking them. When did they go camping then?
I don't know. I'm just saying they probably mentioned it when we didn't notice.
They probably did go camping. Right, so, it's Lyme disease. We're just going to test, but now you said it'd be weird if it wasn't Lyme disease because this isn't house. Linda tries to give Gemma an apology later. Gemma's not accepting it, and she goes off with a flea in her ear, which is not as bad as a tick.
Yeah, very true. What can you get from fleas?
Bubonic plague.
That's next week's one, isn't it?
There's been a resurgence of the Black Death in Weatherfield. Wasn't that what their pitch was for 2020 before the pandemic came along?
They were going to have bird flu, weren't they?
Yeah. It's mad cow disease. Could be that.
It would not surprise me because it's probably round about now that all this BSE inside of us is turning into something horrible. I remember all of us 80s burger eaters.
My 90s childhood was full of me worried about acid rain, getting eaten by piranhas, falling in quicksand,
of course,
or
which can happen.
hole in
can't
the
it, Nick?
ozone layer, or getting mad cow disease.
Yeah, it would not surprise me if they do that. They just like to pick the most obscure. I mean, I'm sorry to any Lyme disease sufferers out here.
I don't think it's obscure as you think it is.
Well, I don't know anyone with it, but I do now, Joseph.
What about Ebola? That's a good one. I'm just looking up rare diseases. Alice in Wonderland syndrome. That sounds pretty good.
What's that?
I think it's something to do where you think everything's not real and things are smaller and bigger than they actually are. It's called Todd syndrome.
Todd syndrome.
Yeah, distorted time perception, distorted touch perception.
Look, we can't talk about made up diseases for all the rest of the podcast.
It's not made up, it's real.
Yeah, that's what they want you to think.
Right,
These big farmers that are just selling you the anti-Todd syndrome.
The farmers, the pharmaceutical companies, not farmers.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know.
No, all right, anyway.
Okay, right, so Gemma and Disney going to see Joseph, he's still asleep, and she doesn't know. Gemma...
I'm just imagining a farmer now going, "Oh, I think you got the Todd syndrome. I think you got a bit of Alice in Wonderland disease there, my liver."
If you don't give me any money, I'm going to give you all Lyme disease and my ticks in my field.
Yeah, watch out, there's cow pats all over the place here. Don't go licking them, mind.
Don't go in that field, they've got mad cow disease in there. Right, okay, so Gemma is upset with Chesney because she's vindicated now and nobody believed her.
Yeah, rather than just crowing like anyone normally would, yeah, she takes it upon herself this week to just make Chesney feel like an absolute dunce.
Good, he should do. On Friday, Gemma and Chesney stayed all night in the hospital because, don't worry, the quad's being looked after by...
Thank goodness for that.
It's a good job that Billy took time off of being a vicar.
Yeah.
Otherwise he wouldn't have time for all this. So the doctor comes in.
Can I just say... And I know I don't like cute children things very much, but those raincoats that the quads were wearing this week, they were like the Teletubbies, weren't they?
Yes.
Well, I mean, they didn't look like Teletubbies, but they could definitely be the next Ragdoll Kids production.
Is this Coronation Street's answer to the Six, like colour-coordinated quads?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? They've all got their own...
Which one of them will turn up to be a serial killer? You have to wait for 30 years to find out.
They were adorable.
Right, so... The doctor comes in and says, it's Lyme disease. I would tell you all the symptoms, but I think somebody already did that. And Joseph has to stay in a bit longer.
Chesney's got lemon disease. He just stands there looking like a lemon. Yeah,
Cat's bum disease. Right, so Gemma's very arsey because they didn't believe her before. Meanwhile, Bernie's being released today.
Right.
She's been in for 6 weeks.
Hang on a minute.
7 weeks.
Let's just pause this for a minute.
Okay, right, stop the podcast.
Why? She was sentenced to 3 months, and I know that she was told you may only serve half of it, but I really, really fail to see, and I'm sure somebody could tell me, when you told me earlier what you think, there was very, very little.
Me what I said.
You said, to make it more difficult for Gemma not having any support network, but the family've barely been. This story about Joseph wasn't the lavender stuff like a week or two before before Bernie went into prison, and then it's just gone on ice while she's been away, and now they're carrying it on. It feels like, this story barely progressed while Bernie was there, and they've just started warming it up again. Now I don't see the point. I was expecting it to be, she's missed something huge, or Paul comes out and she comes out and Paul's barely recognisable, but he's kind of the same as when she went in. That it feels like a big missed opportunity and a big... What was the point of that for me? I am struggling
to see how they could have... How nothing would have changed if she'd been...
The drama of, oh no, I'm going to miss you last Christmas, I'm really sorry, I can't believe it, and everything in court, and Paul saying, no, don't send her down. That was all good, but it felt like the story kind of climaxed at that point, and while she was in... There was... Nothing happened. She was superfluous. She wasn't needed. Paul's storyline's been carrying on, but...
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean...
She's not coming out and saying, I'm so sorry I missed X, Y and Z. She even got to spend some time with them at Christmas via Zoom. As far as we know, she's just been Zooming them every night because that's what you do in prison, apparently.
With your bum phone.
I think...
a bit
of a miss for me.
This is what I said... I wanted more consequences, and this is a complete lack of.
Yeah, even going to prison, sending a character to prison has very little consequence on a family. Come on.
Yeah, not.
Glad that she's back. I mean,
Yeah, I like Bernie being
Bernie
back.
was fab last year. She was an excellent addition to the Paul story and
can't-
added so much heart
but
to
you-
it.
This is one of my reasons why I think this is why Corrie needs to focus more on consequences, is that you're just undermining any drama from future things that happen.
Yeah, you're not going to get invested in it because, well, you know, whatever
So what?
happens here,
It'll be fine.
they're going to be fine.
Yeah,
and
I'm
that's
not worried
exactly
about
what
it.
happened here.
'Cause I don't-
Everything was fine.
Because I'm sure they'll be all right in the end.
I know Paul's not going to be all right in the end, but
Yeah, that's the only thing. Ian, if Coronation Street is probably like funding research into M&D now to cure it, so they don't have to kill Paul off.
yeah, I just anyway. Glad that she's back. May well get a mention when we're talking about our Weatherfield Wayfarer Award when we do the pop-ins.
Right, so Bernie's back. Dev's on cloud 9. Well, he's coming back. Meanwhile, Paul tells Billy about this Lyme diagnosis, and Paul feels sorry for Gemma because nobody believed her, but at least they're going to get her. She's going to move out soon. Good, because they want the sofa. And
For more bonk-ups, probably.
bonk-ups.
Bunk-ups.
Bonking bunk-ups.
Exactly.
Billy suggests they have a welcome home party for Bernie, so they organise something in the Rovers. When Joseph finally wakes up, Gemma tells him about the diagnosis, and he's going to be fine, and he's really down.
Yeah, she's saying you're going to be able to come home and I'll
he's
be
not
able to...
happy about this.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know about the fridge freezer.
He could probably fit
Kids
in
love
that
stuff
freezer,
like
couldn't
that.
they? Yeah, they do.
Kids
Well, we
really-
do.
Yeah, we do, yeah. Oh, everyone. Who doesn't love it?
Who doesn't love a giant American fridge freezer? If you've been, you know, or you've just had a little mini one in your life.
Anyone what likes it.
It's
And
like,
even
think
people
of all
who've
the
already
ice
had one.
cream you could put in that.
Loads. Gemma tells the social worker, she has a meeting with the social worker, and she's having a go at her, saying, look, you know, Joseph was sick. And Gemma, the woman's like, I'm really sorry, but, you know, we had to investigate all this. I'm surprised they didn't do a PSA about Gypsy Rose, what's her face, who killed her mum because she was doing factitious disorder on her. She's very big at the moment, you know. She's just been released from prison and she's on all the chat shows.
I know.
So
There are people at
that's
work
what
talking
the
about it
social
the other day.
worker should have said to her. Well, I'll have you know. What was her name? Gypsy?
Blanchard.
That's it.
Same as my great aunt.
Are they related?
No.
What are they saying at work?
I don't remember.
Oh, I would love that conversation.
Sorry, I don't know. I wasn't really listening.
I have to live
that
through
much.
you because nobody talks to me. Right, so the social worker says also, you know, you did poison him with lavender oil. So
Yeah. I think things are going to go back to being okay.
no, they're not. Not
Why?
if Gemma's got anything to do with it.
If who?
Gemma.
Oh.
So you've written the Albans.
I didn't write the Albans. You know I've very
Oh,
much
I didn't know
having the
if it was a
Alahans.
joke about.
Oh, no. The Alahans.
I thought you were making a funny
Autocorrect.
joke because it's like the blur.
No.
Right, Billy, Paul, Moses, Bernie, Dev, the twins. They're all there when Bernie comes in to the pub. Hooray! She's chuffed.
I want to confess. I have a confession to Billy the vicar. We didn't. It took us about probably 30 to 40 seconds to recognise Moses, and he was like, "Who's that random guy
Why have
that's
they got
just
an
sitting in a
extra in the
booth?"
middle?
And we did, and he wasn't saying anything for a
No.
while as well. And then it was me. It's like, "Oh yeah, it must
I'm
be
sorry,
Moses."
I need context clues. So normally you only appear in the flat, so I forgot who you
Yeah,
were.
they've let you out.
Which
And
I remember
and
when you didn't know who Eva was for
I
about
do
4
remember how I
months.
didn't know who he was, and I really like Moses as well. I don't know
I
why
know.
he's just suddenly popped out, and it makes perfect sense for him to. Well, it didn't
Well,
really.
it didn't really
make
make sense
because
because he said, "Oh, I'm only here because I was supposed to be
he
shopping
wasn't
for
supposed
Paul."
to be fraternising with
No,
his.
he was just having a beer.
Mm.
Anyway, Bernie's happy, but she pulls Billy to one side and says, "Thank you for everything, including putting your job on hold for my son."
Tell you what, Glenda was had the hots for Moses, didn't she?
yeah.
I said that we might have a love interest
I know.
for
As soon as she
Glenda
said that, I was
earlier
like,
this year.
"Don't get involved, Glenda. It's too much trouble." So Joseph does not want to go home when he's allowed to because he doesn't want to be with Chesney because Chesney doesn't believe him.
Didn't believe her.
Didn't believe him. And Bernie's getting herself riled up at the pub because she's mad about Chesney and Linda not believing Gemma either. And then they're sulking it over a cup of tea at number 5, and Bernie comes in to have a go at them. And has a go at Linda and says, "If you try and pull a stunt like that again, you'll have me to answer to. Get out." And Linda says, "Oh, I could stay with Izzy, but she's such a drag. I'm going to stay at a hotel." And Bernie tells Chesney that he needs to work on saving his marriage, which he really does. Back at the flat, Paul's a bit down because he's realised that Billy's been trying to make a big deal about Bernie coming home because every day could be his last and everything's got to be a happy celebration, good occasion, etc. And Billy says, yeah, okay, but we have to cherish every day. And I'm still up for the whole euthanasia thing, by the way, just to let you know. Over at the hospital, Joseph is still insisting he doesn't want to go back home. He can't forgive Chesney, can't forget what he's done. And Gemma says that Chesney loves you and families should stick together. But when Chesney comes to the hospital, Gemma tells him that Joseph's not happy about this. And she's trying to convince him to be nice to him. And then there'll be a family again. But, you know, and until... Well, no, she doesn't say that. She says...
She starts off saying it and she has a bit of a volte-face, doesn't she?
But you are going to have to... sleep on the sofa because I love you, but you've hurt me so badly I don't know if I can get back to the way we used to be.
Well,
good.
No, not good.
Why?
Come on, just let him off.
You can't just let... No.
Yeah, forgive him. He's obviously sorry. I think that... I think that it's a mistake that anybody could make.
What?
I'm just setting myself up for if I ever make any stupid mistakes in my life. I know.
This is you men. You all stick together. Like, oh yeah, so he's just a neglectful, horrible man, and he made all these mistakes, and he was rude and nasty and mean and ignorant. But
I'm just very forgiving.
Any man could have done the same thing.
I'm just very forgiving, and I like to think that people would forgive me if I made a silly mistake like this. No, I think that Gemma should be lucky. She should just count her lucky stars that Joseph's going to be okay, her mum's back, they've got a new fridge. Just
no.
She still loves Chesney.
Chesney didn't trust her or believe her and thought that she was a bad mum. And remember when she accidentally gave that stuff to Joseph and he acted like she did it on purpose and he wouldn't even talk to her? Like, he's so great. He hit himself he bashed himself in the head with a brick once.
Chesney's always been useless. She knew what she was signing up for.
That's okay then.
She can't look after the quads.
So that's your excuse to me. I knew that you were useless.
Yeah. You knew that I was a Coronation Street fan when you agreed to go out with each other.
Couldn't put your own shelves
and that
up.
meant you were signing yourself for 10 plus years of co-hosting a podcast with me. Sorry, I should have given you a written contract.
Oh, I did sign something.
Yeah, so that's where we're left with. I'm sure there'll be... We're not going to have a Chesney and Gemma split up over this, are we?
Chesney and Gemma?
Chesney and Gemma, they're going to be fine.
No, I don't think she should take him back. I think he's he's miserable. What does she see in him? He's so boring and dull and miserable. He doesn't crack a smile because I think his muscles around his mouth have atrophied to the point where they can't go up.
He just needs to give her a grand romantic gesture, like filling the giant freezer full of ice cream and then just go, ta-ra!
They don't have any money.
Details. Get Linda to buy it for him. Though de Hagen does, she'd be anyone's. I think it's going to be fine. And that was that storyline.
What do you think?
I can't believe I'm defending Chesney.
Why are you defending Chesney?
I think it's just, in my head I'm thinking, he's always been like this. I think really it is just, you know what he's like.
Oh my God.
and some men will just never change, some people will never change. I think it's an easy mistake that anyone could have made. And he's sorry. I'm just very forgiving.
He's just miserable all around, and Gemma was a better character before she got together with Chesney.
I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to deny that Henry would be a much better proposition for her, but he's not here at the moment.
I bet you Henry's got a American style fridge freezer and a wine cooler and a drinks fridge in the garage.
I bet he's probably got a wine
freezer.
cellar, never mind a cooler.
And a chest freezer.
Yeah. Anyway, that was that story. I don't need it to carry on next week, but I've got a feeling it will. How long? Any kind of feelings about how long Linda's going to be hanging around? I don't feel like
long enough for them to get. She's going to be like, well, if Chesney, if Gemma doesn't want to be with you anymore, then you should get divorced. I've just sellotaped together this business card that you ripped up.
I wonder whether whether Chesney would have been so dismissive of Gemma's concerns today if Linda hadn't riled him up and dripped her poison in about to...
Oh, yeah, that's right. Blame another woman.
I'm just defending Chesney again, aren't I?
Why?
Come on, give me a slap.
I just think that it's really unfortunate because Paul's going to have to deal with all of this while he's going through what he's going through. And I don't think, Gemma's fed up with Chesney, but... Ugh.
It is that's kind of my other problem with it. Not just that there's another disease going round. It's two in the family now. Can things get any worse?
Oh yeah, it could get worse because they could end up with just loading.
Getting up your search history again. Come on, unusual diseases. Hit me with it. What's Bernie gonna be struck down with next week?
Foreign accent syndrome.
Now that I'd like to see. Is that really a thing?
Yeah, it's a disorder causes a sudden change in speech, usually due to a stroke or a brain injury. And I have seen videos of people that have had that, yeah. So that I know that's true. Or they could end up with methylmyoglobinemia, which turns your skin blue.
Oh, like Virogad.
That's probably what she had.
Okay, well, there's still plenty of untapped potential for random diseases in Coronation Street. Maybe their challenge for 2024 is to have somebody come down with a disease every week. Cram them in there.
I just find one more.
Go on.
Vampire syndrome.
Brilliant. Speaking of which, anyone else seen Saltburn? We watched that last Sunday. Less said about...
Oh, God.
Don't you know? Okay. You know.
I didn't watch that bit.
I really like that film. I followed it and everything.
You've talked about it several times. This is the second time we brought it up on a podcast.
Did I bring it up last time?
No, I brought it up because I accused you of getting carried away with saying everyone was gay.
I was just so proud of myself for understanding a film and following it from the beginning to the end, and it was over 2 hours long.
What is his motivation for putting on Murder on the Dance Floor?
Anyway, let's do the Sarah and Adam and Damon story. Hey, keep away from my son, says Adam this week. So we get started with things have clearly stepped up to another level with Damon and Sarah, where they're there in Red Bank early morning, bit of saucy talk between them, and he says,
she was wearing a very cheap looking satin get-up, wasn't she?
Well, she is very cheap. That goes with her. Yeah, he's decided that because she's such a good lay, that he's actually going to stay in Weatherfield anymore and not run away from whatever horrors that Harvey has in store for him next. So as Adam and Dee Dee get to work, Adam is moaning about Damon, who is meanwhile visiting Harvey in prison. So this is a seat of quite a packed seat, more packed than the Rovers. This visiting room in the prison.
Yeah,
wasn't
that's
it?
a good point. Actually, they can stack them up in the prison. It's the place
to be. Yeah.
I hear there's overcrowding.
Well, there was only one main character in there, and that was Dee Dee. She was there with her own client, wasn't she?
There were three main characters.
Oh. Well, I don't count Damon and Harvey as main character.
All right then.
Yeah, she's there handily talking to her own client who just happens to be there, and
just happens to be there.
Earwigging in on this conversation that's going on.
It's not really surprising that she knows someone in prison.
Anyway, she's very distracted by what the brothers are up to, and Harvey's saying, "Look, your car got crashed into a cube, nothing to do with me, mate." And Damon's like, "Look, call it quits, fairy squarey." We're done.
Very scary. I've never heard anyone say that before.
Yeah.
I got it
from a Michael Rosen poem. On his way out, Harvey tells Damon, "By the way, make sure you send my love to Sarah. And that Harry too."
Oh my God.
Damon's like, "What? I think that was a veiled threat, sir."
Where's my glove?
Yes. But he gets grabbed by two, I was going to say goons there, but I suppose they're guards.
When they're hired by the state, you're not allowed to call them goons.
No.
Even though they're technically the same thing.
They're reformed goons. And they keep him jiggling there for just long enough to complete his threat. And then he gets shepherded off. And Harvey's sitting in his chair and legs apart going, yeah.
Yeah, man-spreading.
He was totally man-spreading. That was a satisfied man-spread there.
Oh, my balls have grown 2 sizes.
Really?
Like in that, what's that from? And the Grinch, his heart grew 2 sizes there. And his balls grew 2 sizes that day.
Anyway.
Keep that in your list of insults.
He reminded me of
Hang on, just PSA. If your balls do grow 2 sizes, you probably do want to go to a GP.
He reminded me of the have we talked about gladiators?
Gladiators. No, but I want to say,
That's back.
I wish I had mentioned in my predictions. I forgot to write it down. Remember I said I want a special guest star. I want Legend or Viper.
Yeah, this is what Harvey was giving me proper Legend vibes.
Yeah,
He's a bit of a cocky.
I love Legends and Viper. They're my favourites.
Wasn't it great to have gladiators back? Everybody in England.
Gladiators.
Britain. So Dee Dee goes to the street, tells Adam about what happened. Sarah and Damon, meanwhile, are at the bistro to have lunch with Gail and Audrey.
Bonus episode idea. What would all the characters' gladiators' names be? And what would their special moves be?
Brilliant. Okay. Next listener question. We'll pretend that a listener's asked us that. We've never done that before.
Never.
So, lunch with Gail and Audrey, yeah?
Yes.
Could have been really rife for comedy potential, but it didn't really go there. It was a bit of a flub for me. I don't remember because Adam comes in and it all gets a bit finger pointy, doesn't it? Like, oh, I know what you've been going on, and I know that you've threatened Harry. And I've got foreign accent syndrome. Sarah points out that, oh yeah, she's like, well, I don't know why you're so worried about Harry. He's not even yours.
What?
Low blow.
Adam's all upset and he leaves.
Yeah, this is like they do like to chuck that one out there, don't they? And it's easy to do because there's so many kids on Coronation Street that aren't living with their biological parents. That's probably like the most used burn in the whole street. Fizz and Tyrone are always doing it.
I bet if you looked, I bet the only person in the whole street, and you know, who knows if this is true, who's living with their actual biological parents, 2 biological parents, is Michael Bailey.
I'd have to think, but...
Oh, Amy Barlow.
Oh, yes, Amy. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Oh, we've sorted it out. It's okay then. It's family values.
Happy families, yeah. I suppose... Can we count the quads? Because Gemma's not properly moved back in yet.
No, she's not living there, so I'll get away with that one.
Anyway, Sarah, come on.
Oh, this was even worse because we know, and Sarah doesn't, and don't think Adam told anybody, that the only reason he was spared his life was because he was pleading on Harry's behalf.
I know.
He loves that boy.
I know. Him and his little football balloon. So anyway, he Adams gets chatting with Nick outside, and Nick says, "Look, you don't have to." Nick says, "You don't want Damon to have anything to do." I'm just going to say that again. I don't want Damon to have anything to do with this family either.
That's
but
what Nick's
don't
saying.
worry. Yeah, given time, Sarah Louise is going to see his true colours. But Adam can't wait for that.
How can you say that, Nick? You know this woman. You've grown up with her.
She's
a flighty, tighty, knickerless woman.
Knickers aren't tight; they're loose as anything.
No, she's flighty, tighty, Nicholas.
Oh, okay. So yeah, she's the one that should have been called Nicholas, not him.
Yes, and she works in a knicker factory. She doesn't even see the value of them.
Anyway, Adam.
They're supposed to protect you from men.
Adam stops by the prison later to arrange a meeting with supposedly his new client, Harvey Gaskell. Who, meanwhile, is busy beating up Dee Dee's client for reasons I can't remember.
Looking at him funny.
I wasn't really paying attention to this. You know I'm not interested in this story whatsoever. So Adam's pretending to be Harvey's solicitor, or is he his solicitor? He's going to say he's trying to sort out him having an appeal. Did he? I don't know.
He said he was going to do something. He did.
Okay.
He did. He said he was going to sort out an appeal.
Okay.
Because it's like, do you want to be in the set the whole time, or do you want to be a proper character? He's like, I don't know. Can you arrange for me to get out at like Easter time?
Are you expecting that Harvey is going to be released?
Only for like a grand finale.
Do you reckon he will?
I think there's going to be a stunt. He's going to be standing on the van again in the rain, going, "This is deja vu."
I don't understand what the grounds for appeal could be. He literally, I mean, he wasn't seen shooting Natasha dead, but he did escape from prison after causing the van to crash. He was almost...
in Germany,
there was
you're
fairly
allowed...
irrefutable evidence that he did shoot Natasha.
In Germany, you're allowed to escape from prison as long as you don't commit a crime in the process.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, how'd you get... What, so if somebody happens to leave a door open, you go, oh,
If
danke
you escape
schön.
from prison, they're like, that's on us. Who'd want to be in prison?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a German phrase that they would say, but it's been a very long time since I did my degree.
What is German for? How do you get there?
Meine Fehler. That means my mistake.
Mine and failure.
Yeah. Does it? I think it does. Don't correct me with that either. I know we have German listeners. We're going over at the bistro, so this family
They're trying to
meal's
practice
not
their
going
bloody
very
English.
well.
It's not helping, is it?
Gail is not impressed with Damon in the slightest. And Sarah says, look, David, who is also just being a Saki as usual, to go and check that Adam's all right. And luckily for David, Adam just by the post box, and David says, look, I know this is all a bit rubbish for you. I think he just says the same thing. There were a few scenes this week that just felt a little bit unnecessary.
Cut for Canada.
There was so much cut for Canada this week.
I'm surprised they probably only had one episode in Canada this week.
Yeah, by the time they get to it. So,
Adam...
Adam...
we've cut out all the PSAs, all the annoying bits, all the stuff with Adam, and every time they repeat themselves, and every time they did a story they've already done.
I don't
So
need a
here's 35
PSA
minutes.
about what Lyme disease in Canada, because they're all a bunch of lumberjacks and
I thought
mounties,
they'd all
aren't they?
been
They probably
frozen,
get
all the
ticks all the
ticks.
time in there, but they're well hard.
They just flick them off.
Yeah. So Adam goes to the prison, has a sit down with Harvey, who's very intrigued as to what he's doing there. And Adam says, right, I want to talk about your brother. He's sleeping with my wife. He's banging my missus. So basically, Harvey and Adam
They're like having
have
a
got
Mean
some
Girls
good
club
reasons
about-
for being narked at Damon.
I hate Damon. Yeah, me too. He thinks he's so smart. I know. He walks around
Get
like
in
he
there
owns
in
the
his
place.
leather jacket,
Oh, he thinks he's so
fur
cool with his little
trim,
shilling collar on.
and his
Who do you
neatly
think you
trimmed
are?
beard.
Oh, your chiseled cheekbone. Adam, do you fancy Damon? No.
Yeah, Adam's just worried that his position in most handsome man in the street is being threatened, isn't he? So he's like, oh, we need to do something about this. What are we going to do?
I can't throw acid on him because that's been done.
Yeah, can't throw a tick at him.
That's been done. Can't give him M&D. That doesn't work like that.
That Gail's telling Sarah, meanwhile, I'm worried about Damon, blah, blah, blah. Adam's saying to Harvey, right, I want you to get one of your heavies on the outside to put the frighteners on Damon.
I've already done it once.
And I'm even willing to bend the rules to try and get you off this murder charge. Adam, what are you doing, lad?
You can't bend the rules.
A
What
bit
do you
later in
mean?
the week where he says, "Oh, if we get caught, I might get disbarred." What are you doing? Seriously,
Ask Todd how that
you
goes.
silly sod! Don't do this. It's your career. He owns the business, doesn't he? He knows that there's a quite big chance that he could get caught here. It's not worth putting that at risk. So stop this story right now. Anyway, sorry. I've done that. Blah blah blah. He goes back to the street. Sarah comes up to Adam and tries to make peace with him, but he's not pleased to hear that Damon has taken Harry to football practice. So
But who's looking after the quads?
Don't worry, we're done with that.
Oh, okay.
Billy. Sarah says to Adam, Harry's always going to be part of your life. Don't worry.
Sorry I was mean.
Later in the flat, Adam says to Dee Dee, right, I'm going to keep all my nose out of this Damon business now. Dee Dee's pleased to hear that. However, at the end of the episode, Harvey calls up Adam and says, I will go along with your little proposal, but you're going to owe me, mister.
And he also finds out from Dee Dee that her client was beaten up, and he knows Harvey's done it. So he realises that Harvey's not just full of wind.
No.
He can do anything.
Yep. He can escape from prison. He can shoot Natasha. He can
stand on a van
stand
and
on
not
a van
get
and
wet
not
in the
get wet
rain.
in the rain. Yeah.
Amazing, really.
And he can also scrub up quite nicely to star in a drama about the post office scandal.
Yeah. He's fiddling the books. I think it was him.
Wednesday's episode, we've got Adam's going to be... Alia knows that Adam's going off somewhere secret later, and he makes out that
thinking-
he's seeing a friend in the hotel in town.
When I was doing my predictions and I said that Alia's going to go away, I was thinking, is she still working for Dee Dee?
So did
Or
I. I
have they
couldn't
forgotten?
remember, because we've seen her in Speed Dial quite a lot, haven't we? They made such a big thing about Alia working with Dee Dee, and they
having
had
to
them do
give
these
up.
poses and like back-to-back arms folded, like we're a
gonna
new
solve
team
the
in
crimes.
town. They really, yeah, but there's been nothing.
But now they had her in that scene with Dee Dee just
to remind us. Sarah comes in. Adam wants to take Harry out for tea. Yeah, that's cool with her. He's back in the prison later. He's not meeting a mate at all. And he tells Harvey, right, I've got good grounds to appeal your case. If he said what the grounds were, I wasn't listening. Or I was typing away on my notes. I don't know. But they need to establish... Oh, this is it. They need to establish... This doesn't make sense. I've said they need to establish that the conviction was unsafe.
Yeah, unsafe.
Is that right?
It's like
Is that a thing?
Isn't that in when you play American football and you run across the line, but you were running
safe?
Yeah, safe or unsafe.
I don't know. Legal mumbo jumbo. It doesn't.
A lot of it comes down to that, I'm afraid.
So Harvey don't want to get his hopes up and says, "Well, you better not let me down, Mister. Otherwise, me and you, we're going to fall out." By which I mean you're going to fall out of a window.
And that, my friend, is defenestration.
Meanwhile, Damon sweet-talking Sarah into getting her to let him pick Harry up from school. So he's got a plan, hasn't he? He's trying to
make it
jealous. so that he's kind of claiming his territory.
What an idiot. I'd be like, Adam, you look after Harry while I shag your wife.
Exactly. Adam tells Harvey, look, this could take a year. We're not going to be out quick. You're sorry. I know Britain's Got Talent Week is coming up in 5 months. So I don't think don't get your hopes up for that.
I don't think so. I've seen this programme before. This will take 2 months. He's like, Adam, you think people who live in this country have got the attention span for a year-long legal story about an unsafe conviction in this show? I don't think so. I need something faster than that.
Yeah. And so they just need a giant bomb to blow a hole in the prison, don't they?
In the bath.
Bomber, yeah. Thank you to that person on the Facebook
Quite
group
a
who
few people
enjoyed
have said that they
my
thought
bathroom
it was
bomber.
good.
Have they? I've only seen one person.
I've seen a few
say
people
like
say.
it.
I think it's the new watery moment. Would make a big watery moment, wouldn't it?
It would. Anyway, if you haven't listened to our predictions, pictures and prayers episode that came out this week, it was quite good. So anyway, they're talking about this.
Well, he's saying, look, it's going to take a while.
A guy outside.
In the meantime, can you please beat up Damon? Because that's all I want.
Well, Adam just has to meet the thug, doesn't he, for a bit, just to arrange the details or something. And but Adam is worried about being caught, and Harvey says, well, look, this guy's either going to give Damon a beating or you. So Damon goes away from the prison, spends a bit of time with Harry, purposefully making him late to see Adam, who is getting really knocked off about, what's going on, where's Harry, not at the flat with Damon. Sarah says, don't worry, Damon's got him. Look, I've seen a lot of people kind of bad-mouthing Sarah or wagging their finger and shaking their head at Sarah for letting Damon take Harry from school. What do you think about that?
What's the question? I was looking at what an unsafe conviction is.
Did you find out?
It is poor representation at the trial, mistakes or misconduct of the trial judge, jury irregularities, bias, inconsistent verdicts, disclosure issues, unreliable evidence.
Oh, okay. Good one to have up your sleeve just in case.
Any of those things.
Never get sent. No, Sarah being a bad mum allowing Damon to collect Harry from school this earlier in the relationship?
Yes.
How long have they been together? A week?
I think the general consensus is to not let your new partner meet your kid until you're absolutely sure that you're very serious about them.
Well, Harry, you saw them snogging last year. Do you remember?
I don't know. It's not down to me to judge anyone in real life, but in this show, I totally judge Sarah for that.
Well, I mean, the fact that she knows what he's like, and yes, he's changed.
She knows
he literally
for a fact
confessed to her
that she kidnapped Adam.
Yeah.
He knows.
He's
she
like,
knows
yeah,
that.
Fair dues. I held a gun to your husband's head, but I've changed. Honestly, I can collect you.
Changed from last week.
Yeah, they should have had a moment where
she's such a dib.
Where on the way up there was a bang, and Sarah's like, oh my gosh, and it just turns out that Harry's balloons popped. His football.
And she's
balloon.
like, Damon, I thought you killed somebody. Oh, I'm so silly.
Not today.
No, not at the moment.
Anyway, Damon comes
He's
up.
like, I've got a list. Not joking.
Adam's not impressed, obviously. And Sarah says, look, Damon, please don't try and wind Adam up. I'm trying to sort of get things a bit better for us, between us and him. Look, just try and get on, make things easy for everybody. Adam though is fuming about this, and he's decided, right, Harvey's gonna beat up Damon if it's the last thing I do.
How about, Sarah? Don't put your husband and your new boyfriend in any situation at all where they could wind each other up.
I know. She just doesn't think.
She's such a stupid idiot. I mean, I know that this is the whole... The thing is about it, though, is that judgment shouldn't be purely down to... No, the drama shouldn't be purely down to the bad judgment of characters, which a lot of it is.
Yeah. And the thing, if like Harry was a bit more switched on and he had a bit of nous to him...
But like, who's this guy?
Well, no, I think, well, maybe trust him to look after himself. But Harry's clearly a little bit, a little bit naive.
Simple.
Wasn't going to say that, but, And,
it's all right to be simple. Lots of characters on the show that are simple.
Let's just say if Damon or Harvey drove up in their car and offered him some sweets to get in, I think Harry's going to be climbing up those steps, isn't he?
Harry, do you want this box of balloons that says that your unborn brother or sister is actually the love child of Damon Hayes?
That would have been funny.
No, what's his name? Damon?
Yeah, he's Damon Hay. Yeah. This story is balloonful, isn't it?
I love a good balloon.
Yeah. Damon was really flaunting the fact that Harry, I can take him out now. He might as well have written "It's Damon's" on that balloon as well, saying, "Yep, he's mine now, Adam.
Well.
What are you going to do with that?"
And then weed on him.
Honestly,
it's not hard to win a child's affections, is it? You just take them out for a meal or give them a balloon.
Yeah, special treat at the bistro.
Yeah, easy.
Who was it today that was going to go to the bistro for a treat? Gemma, was it? Lauren. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, and they did, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Okay, so
Friday.
Adam on Friday meets Harvey's thug down in Scally's Alley in the precinct and says, "Look, I do just want you to scare Damon off, okay?" When this guy goes, this is when Adam has his little panic attack, and he's having a panic attack because the camera zooms right up to him and there's a funny sound in the background. And again, this is where you have your ticker tape up on the screen saying...
Panic attacks can affect anybody. If you're having a panic attack, don't worry. Wait for it to pass.
Completely normal. But if you hear strange music while it happens, you might want to go and get it checked out.
If you can hear strange music and there's a camera in your face, you might be a soap character. Please check your contract for more details.
I am... somewhat, ever so slightly intrigued and kind of excited to see what this beating is going to look like. Do you think it's going to go too far? Because Adam is very insistent that this is only to scare him off, but the way it's being presented to us makes me feel like maybe Damon's going to come off a bit more worse for wear than Adam was expecting.
Or maybe he'll end up in a coma.
I mean, he could do. He could kill him.
He'll end up in a hospital with Sarah going, "Oh no."
Okay, Sarah sees Adam in the precinct, says, "You were right." He says, "Yes." And then he gives Harvey a call on the phone at the end of the episode and says, "Right, I've talked to your bloke on the outside." Harvey says, "Look, right, you better get my appeal sorted then, and then I'll have Damon dealt with." So is that the plan? That Adam's got to sort out this unsafe conviction before he can do anything? How are you feeling about this story? I just can't be bothered with it. I really, really can't.
It's not. I don't think it's as bad as you do.
I've really just taken against it for no good reason.
I mean, I do.
No, there is a good reason. I just don't like this kind of. I don't like gangsters. I'm fed up with prison. I don't find either Damon or Harvey charming in the least, and it irks me because I think they're both supposed to be charming.
Yeah, I could take or leave both of them, honestly, and I'm going to say the same about Adam and Sarah. I don't really care if they're together or not.
Yeah, but as we said before, if they do get together, they'll probably disappear off screen for another 12 months. Like literally couldn't be bothered. I did appreciate what we got. This, I guess this was part of this storyline. A little update on Peter today, didn't we? Was it was it talking?
Toya.
Toya took a break from Adam offering people drinks, which seems to be 90% of her lines now, saying, "Here's your glass of such and such, sir." Come on. Yeah, so Adam's, after Peter's having a lovely time with his mates.
And also Simon is spending a lot of time in the pub.
Oh yes, that was, yeah. Simon's totally going alky, isn't he?
Yep.
No more to say about that story.
Lauren relations.
Oh my god.
On Monday, Max needs somebody to cut their hair because he's got to train.
Had you remembered that Max is training to be a stylist? I'd completely forgotten
Not
this.
really. Do remember. Sabrina's not very keen, but look, there's Lauren. So Max,
If I was Sabrina, I wouldn't let Max anywhere near my luscious braids.
they never talk about ever. They never ever because they haven't really had opportunity for this before now. What are you laughing about?
It literally is, because there have not been very many black characters on the street
black hair is
before.
completely different to work with than white hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because they've never had black characters to cut the hair of.
No.
But you can't cut Sabrina's hair. It's in braids. What will you do to it? Anyway, Lauren appears, and Max does a great job with her hair.
She does. She looks nice.
And David thinks it's great as well, and Sabrina's impressed, and they all agree to have tea together.
Because they're all mates now.
So they gather at number 8, and Gavin Rose with Sabrina, and he isn't impressed that Lauren's there.
Oh yeah, he's heard about.
He's like, oh yeah, she's
he knows
the
of.
supremacist.
Yeah. And then the next scene, he's like, I really fancy her.
She's not racist anymore.
I think they maybe missed something
missed
there.
a
We
few
literally,
scenes.
I don't think we saw any dialogue between the two of them.
That's
We
what I
just were
said.
led to believe.
Show, don't tell.
Yeah.
So she's also talking. Lauren's also talking about this fella that she's got. He's in cyber, and they're like, oh, that's really cool. I want to do that.
Is that what she said, or are you just referencing those old posters?
What, that you could be a ballerina today, but tomorrow, what will you do?
Yeah.
No, he's in he does some kind of tech stuff, and Sabrina's like, I want to do tech stuff. Can I talk to your boyfriend about it? And she's like, yes. But on Wednesday, when they talk again about him and say, oh, when can we meet him? This coding job. And Lauren's like, I don't know. And Max keeps nagging her about it and asking her, why are you being so shifty? Does this guy even exist? And she gets really mad and tells him to do one.
Tell you what, she's better at keeping a lie than Nina and Ardy were last week, isn't she? They
broke
crumbled at the
immediately.
first chance, yeah.
Shona, Sabrina and Max are back at the house discussing about this boyfriend. Lauren's on the phone to somebody, and
When
she's
she goes
saying,
back home.
Lauren's by herself, and she's saying,
yeah.
people keep saying you don't exist. And so there is really a boyfriend.
Oh yeah, there
this
is
was
somebody,
shocking.
isn't there? It's not shocking to me, because...
It is to me, because I thought it was just lots of different people.
Oh, yeah, no, that makes sense, yeah. There's somebody, isn't there?
There's one person specifically that she's talking about, and she says, we're finished. She puts the phone down and it starts ringing, but I don't think she picks it back up.
No. During Friday's episode, there's a couple of scenes where her phone's ringing. So what do you...
Is he a pimp? Is he
maybe
forcing her to go on these quote-unquote dates with other men?
Yeah, because it didn't feel like it was somebody that... I think she is seeing lots of men. I think she's sleeping with lots of men. So, yeah, it must be a pimp.
She's being groomed.
But how long has this been a mystery now? Every week?
Well, exactly.
We're just taking baby steps further towards the truth. Corrie really thought that we'd be more invested in this mystery than we actually are.
So on Friday, Sabrina and Max are checking on Lauren in the cafe, and they're like, "Hey, I know you work in a like the cheapest place on the street, but do you want to go to the bistro for lunch for a treat?" No, not really, because if I could afford to eat there, I wouldn't work here, would I? But like I said, it's a communist paradise in Coronation Street, and everybody, no matter what they do for a living, can afford the same standard of health.
Well, Lauren can. Lauren can.
Life.
Did you see those lovely swish clothes that she was wearing later? And she had her hair all done, all plaited up.
Well, she's non-committal about it, and then she tells him that she split up with her boyfriend, and then you've written tastily dressed.
That definitely, I meant to write tartally there. This autocorrect, honestly.
Tastily dressed.
Tastily dressed, Lauren.
Well, she wasn't tastefully dressed.
No, she was tartally dressed, but I guess some people would say she
tasty.
did look quite tasty.
She sees Daniel in the street.
and he says,
like,
ding
tasty.
dong.
Whoa, where
Tasty
are you off
madam.
to? He asks her about an essay that she owes him, and she says it will be done.
Tastily dressed. I'm going to leave that.
Leave it.
I'm going to leave that for the patrons to have a chuckle on when they receive the tips to show notes.
So he tells her, oh, sorry.
Come on, Gemma, fight the boredom of this storyline.
That came out of nowhere.
That was a yawn.
So basically, it's an excuse for Max to see that Daniel and Lauren are talking to each other to get jealous. And then when she goes to the bistro to meet up with Max, Sabrina and Gav, he's like, he gets carded because he asked for whiskey and coke. And
Gav does.
Toya asks to see his ID and he accidentally flicks a condom out of his wallet and everyone laughs at him.
Yeah, because he's clearly, thinking he's going to get lucky with Lauren.
Don't know what he thinks.
Or someone.
Somebody.
I mean, very responsible of him just to have it. Yeah.
Precautions. So Lauren then gets a vodka out of her drink, of her bag, and they're saying, be careful, don't do that. And she's like, I'm a ninja. Like, I'm an alcoholic ninja.
Yeah, she was a bistro ninja, wasn't she?
Yeah, you can do all kinds in the bistro as long as you're ninja about it. She didn't
get the memo about the costume though, did she?
No, she's wearing entirely the wrong outfit. She's getting drunker and drunker, and she's blaming her ex. She said, thank goodness he's ancient history. And then eventually Toya gets fed up with them and kicks them out.
What a narc. Is that the right word?
No, killjoy. Narc is when you dob someone in. She's the one to be narked too.
Oh, yes, okay.
She's getting knocked off though.
Yeah, she was a killjoy.
So she's like, let's go to a club. Not Toya, that would be too much fun. Lauren says, but Gav says no.
Yeah, because he fancies her.
He fancies her, but she's a bit too much at the moment. But she goes back home later and they go to check on her and they can see there's something up with her. How's she gone to a nightclub and she's back home again and it's still daylight?
Did she go to a club?
I don't know what she did. I think she said she did something, but anyway, they can see something major is wrong with her. And what's up with this bloke? What's this breakup? Why has this had such a big effect on you? And then Max is getting mad and like, is it Daniel? And she says, no way. He's just the latest in a line of scumbags. And Gav says, look, I'll be your friend, but you're bonkers.
You're a bit nuts. I think I'll just leave it.
Max was getting really annoyed with her as well.
So
she's gone off the rails here. This is another Beckification of Lauren, isn't it? Because this was what Becky would always do when she was faced with adversity. She'd get drunk.
Yeah,
and make everything worse.
But Becky was a lot more charming about it. I don't hate the idea of Gav being a confidant to Lauren, if only it means we get more Gav, which is what we've been asking for.
I love Gav.
I don't think that he's brilliant, but I don't think that putting him together with her, I can't see that that's going to do the trick. I've taken against Lauren, and every week where they try and make us feel sorry for her by showing her sadly looking at her ringing phone or dressing up like that because as she's with the horrible things that she's being forced to do, it's just absolutely leaving me cold. And I don't know what they can do to turn me around on that one. And I know I'm not the only one. I've seen lots of anti-Lauren sentiment online. I don't know. It's just not worked. It's just not worked. Get rid. Splat the rat story now, Gemma.
Oh no.
What are you doing?
I'm just thinking.
Oh, okay. Right, so bullying storyline. Liam don't want to go to school. He meets up with Jack at the bus stop and then they talk about, Jack says, oh, we haven't seen you around for a while, but Liam decides to bunk off again, which it turns out he's been doing quite a lot recently. In fact, he's not been at school for a week or so, and we get to see him reporting himself for school. He goes on the goes on the website and then says he's not here. So Liam can't go to school because he's sick, and then he sits back and manspreads, doesn't he? He's like, yeah.
And his balls grew 2 sizes that day.
So Maria finds Gary in the cafe later, and she's been contacted by the school because Liam's been off for a week. What's going on? But we have sent him to school. They head back to the flat, find him playing around on his PlayStation. What's going on?
Gary's like, what's happening? Is it in the new Grand Theft Auto? Have they released it already?
No. Oh. Is it to do with Mason? Is he after you again? And Liam's like, no, me and Mason are mates now, honest. I just don't like school at the moment. There's a nasty PE teacher that makes me play and go. PE teachers.
No one likes them.
They're an easy target, aren't they, for people who don't want to go to school. I can't say that there's ever been a PE teacher, well, when I was at school at least, as a child, that I liked, but I know some lovely ones now, so...
There you go. Swings and roundabouts.
Changed my mind. So later on, Maria tells Gary that Liam's still sticking to this story. And Gary's like, well, I was a bit of a bad boy myself at the same age, to be honest. And Maria's like, yeah, but Liam's not like you, though. He's sensitive. What's going on? And then we get a final scene of the episode. This was very reminiscent of the last time, wasn't it? When he was lying in his bed and all the Rat Boy tweets were coming in, and this time he's on his computer. I don't know what it was supposed to be that he was in. Was it a chat room? Do kids have chat? I don't know what kids talk to themselves, talk to each other, on now. Was it just a instant message thing within a game? I don't know. But basically, in the 2 months since we last saw this, it started to spread, and now everybody is calling Liam a rat boy. It's turned into his nickname.
Oh.
And none of them are using any fouler language than this. It's literally 2 months
I haven't found anything new to do.
Calling him rat boy, finding rat gifts, saying ratty Liam.
Why don't they find some... No, it wasn't gifts, it was emojis. They should do gifts, it'd be funny. Wait till they find out about Roland Rat, they'd love it.
Yeah. Yeah. This is partly my problem with the story, is it doesn't completely ring true to just how vile and obscene they would actually be. This is fairly tame bullying, I'm going to say. But,
This is like bullying from if it was Enid Blyton writing it.
Yeah. Not that I want to downplay it. All bullying is bad. But
Well, I wouldn't like it.
I know, I wouldn't like it either.
Make me cry.
Yeah, I was bullied. I was bullied at school a little bit.
Oh, but showing off now.
Yeah.
Solidarity I think almost
with
everyone
Liam
was bullied at some point.
Yeah. It was just that it didn't feel like realistic or genuine bullying at this point.
The thing that was realistic is the fact that he's being bullied when he's not even there. They're not even there. They don't have to be in the same.
Well, that was Friday's PSA with Daniel in the cafe going, Did you know that most bullying happens online now? Did you know that, Gary? I'm a teacher. I know these things.
Tell you what you couldn't do within Carter, bully people.
You could not bully people within Carter 95, this is correct. Or Cinemania. Do you remember that one?
Or Encyclopedia Britannica.
Oh, get you. Can we just... And I don't think we noticed this the last time this story was in it. What's the deal with Liam and the skulls? He's
edgy, isn't he?
He's a proper...
I call him Goth Rat Boy.
Yeah, Nina would love his room. He's got skull wallpaper, and then he's got that
skull.
Horrible... I don't even know what it is. Little skeleton figurine behind
it's cool.
him.
He's rad. He doesn't care about anything.
He's not rad. He's rat. Rat.
Oh, Rat
Gemma.
Boy, not Rad Boy.
No, but Mason's surname is Radcliffe. I think that
they're missing another trick.
Maybe the end of this is going to be turned back on him, and everyone's going to call him Mason Ratcliffe.
Yeah. Good idea.
That's what I'd do. Friday,
Shame,
Liam's trying to sack off school again, saying he feels sick, but Maria's like, "No, I'm not having any of this. You don't get a headache. Get to school. Sorry, you've got the nasty PE teacher." But you got to get on that bus. So she goes and sits with them at the bus stop, which really is the height of embarrassment when you're that age. How old is he supposed to be? 15, 16? And your mum's sitting there at the bus stop. Come on, Maria. But anyway, he gets on the bus. Dylan's... I keep forgetting about what the status of Dylan is, but he's currently the crab or Goyle to Mason's Malfoy, isn't he? Apart from he looks guilty, just so that we're supposed to remember, don't worry, he'll be redeemed at the end because he's got a heart of gold, really.
He's the main character's child, so he can't actually be a baddie.
There was no Tully, there was no Sean in this week's story, was there?
No.
I miss Sean, I like him on this. Anyway, so Dylan's pretty unhappy to see Liam there. Maria doesn't notice this.
She does.
Oh, does she? Oh no, she does, doesn't she? Yes, that's right, because she has conversations with Gary later saying... Our son is a sad loner. What should we do about it? Yeah. So anyway, she, if sitting at the bus stop with her son isn't embarrassment enough for him, but when she realises that he's left his phone on the bus seat, she then marches off down the school to say, "Don't worry, Mummy's got your telephone. Don't use it in lessons. Here you go." Probably give him a little spit wash there outside the front of the school.
I'm surprised she didn't get messages on the phone calling him Rat Boy. I thought that's what
that
was the
felt like
purpose
that was like
that.
Really obviously should have happened.
Yeah, but the purpose of this though was to get her to come to school so that Mason could film them.
Yes.
So that he could make fun of him.
Yeah, he films Maria and Liam, forget his name, having this little mummy-son moment on the steps. He's like, "This is gold." And
I'm sorry, but I can't believe that none of the kids are teasing Liam about having a hot mum and like saying, "I'd shag your mum. Your mum's really hot." Do you not think they would do?
Yeah. Mason probably would, wouldn't he?
Mason probably would, yeah.
Yeah. And tell you what, what Rhea's like, she'd probably have him as
say,
well.
If he didn't have his school uniform on, she probably would go on a date with him.
Yeah. Okay, so
they laugh.
They laugh.
Mason and Dylan.
Mason and Dylan. He's showing. They've got a new set. They've got a school set. They've got a new classroom. It's not just Daniel's English class. That's the one and only classroom in the school. I'm sure we'll be sick of this one soon, but I appreciated it. I like the design. Looked very modern. They still haven't quite managed to stretch the budget to get more than one member of staff for the school. But baby steps.
Cutbacks.
Yeah.
Mrs. Crawshaw is very experienced.
Runs the school.
They can't afford any other staff.
She's the deputy head.
So high up
she's
the spine.
Probably the head as well. She's the teacher of everything. She's the nurse. She's the cleaner. She's the caretaker.
She's the Senko.
Yeah.
She's behaviour management.
Does it all.
She's SLT.
They really, how much would it take to get a couple of extras to play teachers in the background?
All they would have had to have done was have one of the teachers just pointing, like, everyone out.
Yeah. I think they probably should. But anyway, Mason's showing Dylan this and Dylan's saying, "Oh, I almost feel sorry for him." And Mason's like, "Well, I don't."
I don't. Look at his mum.
Yeah.
She's shaggable.
In the cafe, Gary and Maria are worrying about Liam not having any mates then. That's what I said earlier. And then we see Mason accosting Liam and grabbing his phone and saying, "Get down on your knees and beg for it back." And he does, kind of. Well, he's like, "Why are you being so mean to me?" And Mason,
I said, "Beg, don't look pathetic."
Anyway, he runs off, doesn't he? Good for him.
Well, he gets accosted again.
Yeah.
Dylan's looking unashamed.
Oh yeah, and then Liam is smart and gets away from the situation by smashing the fire escape.
Yeah, Mason's like, "Ugh," and then Liam goes, "Doop beep beep beep,"
and then the fire alarm goes ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling, and then Crawshaw goes rah, 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 rah. And Dev comes in and he probably makes a whole load of sound effects because that's his thing.
Man, get out!
Mason makes sure that Crawshaw knows that Liam was the one what smashed the fire alarm.
Do you think everyone should get to break one in their lives?
They're so tempting, aren't they?
Do you think you hurt yourself?
No, they're just little buttons that press in.
I thought you smash it.
No, you don't.
I thought you had to smash it to break it.
I think modern ones these days just kind of press in and fold.
Well, can't be bothered then. I'm not going to bother.
I'd really
if
like to.
If there's a real fire, I'll just tell everybody.
That's on my bucket list. Fire! Smashing a fire call point.
Oh, well, if only Jim will fix it, was still around.
I fired a fire hydrant now. I had some training for that a few years ago. That was a lot of fun.
You would have been one of those kids that wasted their wish on something really lame.
Yeah.
I also got molested, but we don't talk about that anymore. Not since the documentaries.
No.
It's old hat now.
Maria gets a call from school again and scurries off to go and talk to probably Orla, who's on the phone as well, and says, and this is where Daniel talks to Gary about bullying us online as well.
Mr. Crawshaw's like, "Oh, are you the MILF everyone's talking about?"
They go and no, Liam comes home eventually, and Gary and Mira are like, "All right, come here, you. What you been up to? What's happened here?" They soon twig that there are some bullies making his life somewhat difficult, but he doesn't want to talk about it.
They already knew that though, because they didn't they? Is that what Mrs. Crawshaw tells them?
I thought that she told.
Mrs. Crawshaw tells.
Liam was the one that broke the fire alarm.
Mrs. Crawshaw might have told them.
I don't know.
And then Daniel's like,
Mrs. Crawshaw go, "Your son's being bullied. Sorry, there's nothing we can do about it. Can you sort it out?"
Look,
we're a little understaffed here at the moment. I don't know whether you've noticed when you come to parents' evening and I like to dash around 20 tables in the hall. Daniel, come back. All this they're going to get Nikki back, useless TA, aren't they? Anybody will do.
What, the one that tried to kidnap everybody?
Did she?
No. Who was the TA that was Hope's half sister?
Oh, Jade.
Get Jade back, get Ken back.
Oh, what about that one?
Get Brian back.
No, they do have another member of staff, didn't they? Because do you remember when Evelyn and Bernie, locked themselves in the school?
Yeah.
The other year.
Well, they're practically staff now.
There we go. Yeah, that's true. So anyway, Liam says, "I don't want to talk about it," and he gets into his room, and Jake makes a little appearance to say, Mason's texted me to say that he wants to meet you behind the science block tomorrow, and Liam thinks it's a trap and says, "Look, don't respond to him. I ain't doing that."
I don't get beaten up.
Yeah, and while Maria is going the sensible route of trying to solve this problem by reading the school's anti-bullying policy on their website and deciding that the best course of action is to march up and have a word with Mrs. Crawshaw, Gary's tactic, on the other hand, is to tell Liam. It basically, like, he says, "When I was younger, bullies used to understand. The only thing that bullies understood was violence." Oh, hang on a minute.
And then they said,
No,
and then it's, "Were you bullied?" And he's like, "Don't be soft. Look at me. I'm well hard."
He's like, "Yeah, bullies only understood
be
violence.
victimised.
But don't you use violence?"
So
and
therefore,
Liam goes and
escape.
says, "Think I'm going to use violence. I shall meet up with
Text
Mason.
him.
You tell him the date is on."
You text him, "There'll be a duel at sunrise behind the science block."
Yes, the only block we have at school, which is the Tony. Well, no, that's not the Tony Warren building, is it? It's the
I've forgotten the name.
Victoria Lodge. It's
That's
called,
right.
isn't it?
It's the where they get the post.
Interested in seeing what happens. Do you think it feels like Liam's going to maybe cause Mason some harm?
Maybe it'll hurt Mason, and then he'll get in trouble.
That's just what I'm thinking.
And then Gary will be like, "Oh, didn't I say?"
Yeah.
And maybe Maria will see it because she's there having a meeting.
Or does like Mason send Dylan in, and that seems to me.
Oh yeah.
That the sort of thing that he might do is say, "Well, you do it." Dylan
Fight on my
literally is
behalf.
his lackey now, isn't
Yeah.
he? You go and beat him up, and then you got these two kids that used to be friends, and then Dylan's
It's like Spock versus what's his face, Captain Kirk.
yes, exactly like that. Which one's which? As a non-Star Trek fan, I couldn't say.
I think Liam might be Spock because I think Dylan's a bit bulkier. He's a bit more Shatnery.
Yeah.
But they're both. I think.
Doesn't Kirk get all the alien ladies?
He is a bit of a goer. Yeah.
Yeah, but Dylan got
wouldn't
that
like to
girl a
say.
few months ago, didn't he?
That's true.
Yeah. So I'm
there we
gonna.
go then,
I
definitely
know
Kirk.
nothing about what's gonna happen, but I think that might make if I was writing it, I'd have
would
Dylan
you?
face up against Liam, and
they have Cry.
yeah, and then because Mason is he in that he'd just be able to stand back and say nothing to do with me.
It wasn't me, Mrs. Crawshaw.
Yeah. Nice that the issue of bullying is being highlighted, but it felt to me like it was too kid heavy again this week. We had the Ruby stuff, a little bit of Ruby stuff. To be fair, that's not much. But Joseph, Liam, I want to see more grown up storylines. I think that they're doing a decent job with it, I suppose, but not really for me.
Cass and
the Lass.
On Monday,
Nail drama.
Cassie goes to the shop, tries to get back on Evelyn's good side, but she's not really having it. Tyrone tells Evelyn that Fizz is off to Italy.
Yeah, Angelique's giving her a special holiday, isn't she? I forgot that Angelique was the one that... She was the one that was going out or was... No, she just business partners with Owen, wasn't she?
She was business partners.
I forgot that she was involved in this.
I forgot she was involved in this. I thought... But was this not down to Stephen? I'm surprised that it's still going after
I don't remember. Fizz is obviously doing a very good job.
She's so good. She's going to Italy and Evelyn says that Tyrone should go with her. And... He's like, "Oh, I couldn't possibly."
Oh, I just thought, is this explaining Alan Halsall's leg thing?
Oh,
I didn't even notice that until this very second.
no, I forgot he even had it. Because
Yeah.
he was going to go on I'm a Celebrity.
He was going to do I'm a Celebrity, wasn't he? And now he's going to go to Italy for 8 weeks, probably.
Oh, how long does it take to fix?
Because I know he's back filming now, because we've seen some pictures of him just recently.
Anyway, they're going to Italy. He said
nice if you can get
Fizz
it.
is going to Italy. Later on, Evelyn goes to see Roy in the cafe because she needs to move into number 9.
She needs to move into number 9 to look after the kids, because
Yeah.
Tyrone's like, "So long, girls."
But he needs to move in someone else.
Hmm?
It's a happy coincidence because he needs someone to move in with him, doesn't he?
Ro-
Nina's moving back.
Yes.
Yes?
Nina is wants to move back in because she's broken up with Asher.
Yes. I knew that was a reason. She goes back to number 9 and tells Cassie that Terry might be getting a custodial sentence for animal cruelty and breeding dogs without a licence.
Illegal puppy farming.
Illegal puppy farming. Also, I'm moving back in. Cassie's not impressed with this. Tyrone comes in mad because Evelyn's gone behind his back and asked Kevin if he can have time off. But it turns out it's just so he can go to Italy. And he says, how can... blah, blah, blah. Oh, I can't go. And she says, yes, you can.
Yeah, just go. Just go, Tyrone.
Don't build up all these excuses. Just go. Everyone else does. On Wednesday, Cassie's giving Ruby nail extensions.
Oh, this is quite fun.
She says they're allowed at school, honestly. And Cassie
Did Cassie
believes
really, really believe that? Really? I don't think she's that dense.
Evelyn, I think she's happy to...
She's happy to have something to bond with Ruby over, basically.
I think she's a bit of a rebel. So
and they did look quite cool on her.
Evelyn comes in and has a moan at Cassie for not sending Ruby to school yet, and she hasn't even done a lunchbox. And then she also asks, when Cassie says, I haven't done it yet, and then Evelyn says she's going to make it, and Cassie's like, can you make me lunch as well, please? Thank you. And then they start going on at each other because Cassie took all the stolen money and she gave it to a dog charity.
Should have given it to Ed.
Why? I don't understand why she didn't keep it.
She's a good one.
She's not, though, is
Got
she?
a heart of gold.
Evelyn
Diamond in the rough.
Has a lecture to Cassie because she's looking after the girls, not you. Then she gets a call from school about the fact that...
That poor woman at school, I know they're 2 different schools, but she's been phoning up everyone on the street this week.
Can you imagine how...
You need to set up a little mobile office there.
To work in an office of a school and like have a list, right, I got fair. This would have been what it like. This is what my school was like when I was a kid. A bit like, hello, is that Mr. Smith? Yes, your daughter's got the wrong hair tie. I'm afraid we're only allowed navy, black, white or beige, and they had a red one, so that's a detention. This is what your daughter had her socks rolled, not folded, so that's another detention. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, your daughter's skirt was 1 inch higher than her knees, so that's another detention.
Expulsion, permanent record.
Her knickers were not navy, so
this is what didn't quite sit right with me. Ruby comes back to school after enjoying being Miss Popular, doesn't she? And she says, "Oh, I got a detention, but it was worth it." Sorry, she's in year 6. I don't believe that a primary school would give a year 6 girl a detention for having fake nails.
No, they just rip them off. What do you do? Do you not have that happen?
I don't have children coming in with fake nails. Sometimes they have nail varnish, and I always say, get that off by tomorrow. But you wouldn't get a detention. You wouldn't.
I know that people get funny about this stuff.
Detention's not really even a thing at primary school, is it?
I know that people don't like it when children have really strict uniform requirements, but I really think it's good because it's one of those things that if you can't follow that basic rule, that's very simple, you're in for a world of trouble when you get to be an adult, and there are many rules that you have to follow that don't make sense and you don't agree with, but you've got to learn when you're young to follow the rules. Also, it helps people blend in because not everyone's parents can afford fancy nail varnish or nail extensions or nice fancy shoes.
Oh no, I'm definitely I'm a supporter of uniform.
I think both of us agree with it, but I know a lot of people don't.
I like I dress smartly for school.
You do. You wear a tie.
I'm always in a shirt and tie. I'm the lone tie wearer of the school.
Mm-hmm. Nerd.
If somebody had come into, I don't think it would happen at my school, but if somebody came in with that, we'd say, "What's that?" We'd probably phone parents to say, "Can you make sure they go off, please?" But detention, no.
Yeah, you just not really. It's just not. Anyway.
You think that the child isn't responsible enough or to know.
Well, the child is not responsible for their own uniform, is it? It's the parents.
Yeah.
Anyway, she gets in trouble about it, and Evelyn says, "I'll have a word with her," and then she has to go at Cassie because she's gullible for letting Ruby think that Ruby telling her that she's allowed them. Cassie's helping Ruby take her nails off, and Ruby's like, yeah, everyone loved me, I want to be popular. And Cassie says, well, it was rough for me, but I broke the rules trying to be popular, but then it just led to more trouble.
I thought that was quite a nice scene. She's just having a nice little bonding sesh with our Rubes, isn't she?
Yeah, and Evelyn's listening in like, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That she's bonding.
Yeah, I enjoyed
and she's
that.
not being naughty.
Yeah, they had a nice little makeup scene. I was getting fairly weary of the bickering that was going on between them, so that was quite nice at the end. I think, wasn't this the last scene of this story, Cassie pulling out Evelyn's granny pants from the wash, and they'd been mixed up with something red, so they'd gone pink. Did you see that?
Yes.
That was
and Evelyn tells Cassie she did a good job, but not with the laundry.
Yeah. Finally, this week, we have got the Twinina storyline. Ardy's been discharged. He doesn't have carbon monoxide poisoning. That's old news. Bring on the Lyme disease. Get out, Ardy. We need a bed for somebody else now. Dev says, look, you come back home. You can't live in that skanky flat any longer. Nina's split up from Asher. It's just going to be the clan Allahan now.
Everybody's moving houses again.
Yeah, it's house swap once more. There's
it's like in what hermit crabs do when they are gonna did you see the video when a hermit crab lives in a different shells and different things, and apparently a hermit crab, if it finds an empty shell but it's not the right size,
it's shell shock.
It just chills and waits for another crab to come, and then they end up, loads of them all coming together with different size shells, and then they all line up and go whoop in and out.
They do a shell swap.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. That's what Coronation Street characters did this week.
Basically. All that happens in this story. Yeah, Nina goes to live with Roy. Asher helps Ardy to clean up the flat. This is when Ardy discovers his the bracelet that he bought her for the birthday, wasn't it? And he's
right.
like, how did this get here? Did you see? I thought,
you must have been here when I was dying.
I think that...
How would you miss you dropped your massive chunky bracelet? It wasn't like it was a little bracelet. It was like a She-Ra, like gauntlet of power.
Yeah, it was a little bit. I think that Ardy was a bit out of order. Yes, I know she's being trained to be a paramedic, but he was unconscious on his sofa. He was still
drunk,
breathing. There were beer cans around. She was knocked off at him. I don't blame her whatsoever for thinking he just had one too many.
He's just using it as a...
Yeah, basically. It was just a reason for the pair to have a little conflict and have a bit of extra drama for Monday's episode. But you know what? They made up at the end, and everything was cool with them. Pretty much, I think. That was basically it, wasn't it? Ardy's kind of saying to Asher, look, you don't just because you missed that I was nearly dead on the sofa, it doesn't mean you shouldn't be a paramedic anymore, because she starts worrying about this. And he's like, they just end up having a nice scene with him saying, I think I'm going to go to the shop and maybe see Amy. And she says, you're such a loser for not making the moves on her so far. So I guess the next time this story comes back in, we will finally have that Ardy and Amy reunion.
We've all been waiting for.
All been waiting for, has been teased for many months. Hope so. I think they'll be nice together. But that's it. That was this week's Coronation. I enjoyed speaking about that with you, even though we didn't have, the big talking point this week was, aren't American fridges great? And when that's the main talking point of a week at Coronation Street, you've not got a classic there. What are you thinking of for rating for this week? It's going to be a low one for me, I'm not going to lie.
I didn't dislike it as much as you did.
I was just watching it this week, and I just... Nothing at all, really.
I thought it was all just average. There was nothing that really caught my attention, but I thought a lot of it was fine. I think it was fine. It was a fine week. I'm going to give it 3 oversized fridges. American fridge freezers.
I think 3 is a good average, but it was almost offensively average for me, because there were bits where I think, they're trying to make me excited here. Like, I'm supposed to feel, oh God, what's going to happen with Harvey? Is Adam going to be okay? Oh, Lauren, the poor girl, the drama, the trauma that she must be going through. I wonder what this mystery is. Oh no, Lyme disease. There was so much where I think, they were trying to make me care about it more than I actually did. And for that, I'm going to go lower. I was earlier thinking of 2. But you're right. I don't think it was so bad that it was down there. I think I'm gonna give it 2.5 price stickers on Dev's chest out of 5.
Who's the character of the week?
Good question.
Fridge freezer.
Good question. I don't know.
It's really tough because Gemma was one of the main characters, and so was Chesney. And then you've got Damon and Adam and Sarah.
Yeah.
None of them. Lauren.
No.
Gav was in it.
Gav was in it. Therefore, character of the week.
You could have given it 2.5 of Gav's condoms.
I know exactly who I'm going to give this.
What?
Badass.
Badass?
Yeah, Badass is my character of the week.
Her hair is so cute.
She was in 3 scenes maximum, but she owned them all.
Yeah.
And she told us all about what Lyme disease is.
We would never know.
I think just for that, it could have been Shona for initiating that exchange.
Do you think when they told King Charles III, our current reigning monarch, that he has an enlarged prostate, that it was Dr. Gaddas that came and explained to him what that is?
I want, yeah. I'd have an enlarged prostate
she should be,
if I thought that Dr. Gaddas would be the one.
She should be the who's the surgeon, the royal surgeon or whatever, the doctor. That's who she should be. She tell you who we could have used her during COVID. She could have done the slides.
Yeah,
she would have been great. Everyone would be like, "It's fine. It's under control. I'm not worried at all."
Give Christine Mackie a proper contract.
How many people died today? Oh, I don't mind. It's okay. She said it's all right. It'll be all right in the end.
Who's your character of the week?
Gav.
Gaddas and Gav. Awesome.
Maybe.
Please do better next week, Corrie.
Yeah.
But like I said, the story's just. I need there to be some kind of I need an ultimate mega twist of something to kickstart the year, because if we've got is the bullying, the Lauren, the Gemma,
I saw somebody.
Let's have some more. Maybe Daisy. Would that help make the year better? Get a bit of Jenny in.
I saw somebody saying that they wonder whether Joel is Lauren's secret boyfriend.
Maybe, but is that exciting?
Is he really secretly evil?
That would make an interesting... If Joel is Lauren's secret boyfriend, for the love of Coronation Street, don't tell us beforehand.
For the love of Tony Warren.
Don't say, just have it be revealed so that we can at least go,
what?
Rather than just like, yes, we know, we saw it on the front of a TV guide. Well, surely next week.
Yeah.
If we don't know who Lauren's mystery man is, I'm going to be marching up to Manchester myself next week and rapping on McLeod's door and saying, just tell us for heaven's sake. Who is the new producer of Coronation Street? And also, what about Lauren's boyfriend?
They've circulated photos of you around Media City. You're not going within the...
They're not letting me in, are they? Nope. Do not allow this man access.
And then there's a picture of a question mark and it's Gemma. Don't know what she looks like, but...
Right, that is it for this week's Street Talk. That was kind of fun to discuss, despite the week not being the most inspiring.